friends. My name is Kat and I'm the children's librarian here at the Tewksbury Public Library. Welcome to this week's Art Not Craft video, where every week we delve into a different artistic medium to give it a try and see how we like it. Today we are going to be looking at chalk pastels, and I am going to tell you right out that I have broken the first rule of chalk pastels. I am wearing a black shirt. This one is messy. All right, I've got my chalk pastels here. This is a set of 32, which is really nice. You don't need this many, but there's all different colors. And these are gonna be fun because a lot of the fun of chalk pastels is just blending all the colors together. I also have a smaller set here that only has 12. That's really all you need. You'll notice these are longer, but also broken. They do tend to break if you hold them too tightly, but that's okay. 2 smaller pieces work just as well as 1 bigger one. I'm gonna use these just because I like the variety. The thing with chalk pastels is that they are very, very smudgy, and that's a lot of the fun of it. And mixing all the colors together. So we're gonna see how we do. I like to do these on a darker piece of paper. You can absolutely use whatever you want. I have some very, very thick, this is almost cardstock paper, that has a little bit of a texture to it. Someone donated a pile of this to the library, and I'm just gonna use it because I think it's gonna show up really nicely. So I have a nice bright vibrant yellow. With these you can hold it just like a pencil and do regular lines, but you can also use the side of it and kind of sweep across the page, and now you can really see the texture on this paper here. That's kind of neat. But then you take a different color and see what happens when you go over top. You can see that they are both blended together, but you can also, in some parts, see both the lighter and the darker in the same area. It's kind of cool. So you get to play around, see what you like. This is kind of reminding me of a fire, these colors I've chosen. I wonder what happens when you go over the smaller lines with a bigger smudge, or when you draw smaller lines on top of a big smudge. It's kind of a play around and see what you like. The thing with chalk pastels though, because they're so very, very smudgy, is that you want to smudge them even more to make this look how you want it. And of course you can use whatever you want. There are special tools. You can use Q-tips. I have a paintbrush here. That's pretty neat. But you know what? We will get even more control if you just get right in there with your fingers. I didn't really have a plan for these colors, except that I really like how they look together, and I thought they'd stand out nicely on the background. But now that I'm doing this, I think this kind of looks like a campfire. So I am gonna draw some logs at the bottom here. I have like a medium brown. I'm drawing a couple pieces of wood here. Rub that in. It's a little more orangey than I thought. That's okay. We have plenty of colors to play with. There we go. It's kind of nice. We've got some firewood, and then you can take some darker and make some more highlights so that we know. I'll make the kind of the end of a stump here. The rings, you can see that that's a log, just in case you can't see it before. Put a little shading in there. And then we're gonna go in with some darker colors and make this even more obvious that it's a fire than it already was, now that we have this beautiful smudgy background to work with. There we go. So just by playing around for a couple minutes, we have made a campfire. Isn't that neat? So a lot of chalk pastels is just doing that, playing with it, seeing what you like, smudging things a bit, or kind of artfully smudging things together. I'm gonna show you one other way of smudging things, which is going to use a relief or a cutout here. I made a little heart since it's almost Valentine's Day. I'm gonna take a piece of tape. I'm actually gonna use a couple. because I want this to sit as flat to the paper as I can, but I also want to be able to pull it off really easily. So painter's tape would be better than Scotch tape, but you use what you have on hand. I'm going to tape that right to the middle. Now I'm going to take some pink and make a nice dark line right at the edge here. And we'll take some different colors and go around the outside of this shape that we made. Doesn't have to be perfect. We just want it to be real bright on the paper. Real pretty. I always think orange and pink and red look so pretty together. I just used that pink, I just used that red. Well, let's do it again. There we go. And now I'm gonna take my finger and smudge out from the middle all the way around. Again, take as long as you want doing this. You can use whatever you want. You can use your paintbrush. If you want to go back in now and add another color on top, you can. And I think that's real pretty, but it will be even more pretty when we remove carefully the heart. And there we go. We have a beautiful pastel relief picture. So we've seen a little bit of what pastels can do. And I think we're going to take just some regular old drawing paper here and our chalk pastels and try to make a nicer kind of project and plan it out ahead of time. So I am going to draw my kitty cat because I like kitty cats. So I'm going to take a nice medium brown and really lightly kind of draw out the shapes. So he's got a big round head and ears here. That head might be a little too small for him now. And then I'm gonna draw him sleeping, although he's usually awake and playing. We'll give him a big tail. We draw the two little paws in the front, and then put his big old leg there, and his back foot. So we have a decent outline of a kitty cat. Put his nose right here. So I put this a little bit more than halfway down the page because he is kind of looking down, and I'm gonna have his eyes closed, so we're gonna put his eyes like this. Kitty cats also have noses that kind of come up like in a triangle shape, and the eye would be right here. Of course, it's, you know what, I'm gonna make that his eye. It's okay, we're gonna smudge it anyway. We're gonna make his eyes closed and happy. There we go. So now we have a good basic outline. We're gonna use the side of the chalk to kind of fill it in. Not super dark because we want to be able to still see where our outline edges are. We're gonna smudge it just a bit here. And I really do like using my finger for this because I feel like it gives me a lot of control, but this is also not going to be a super fancy picture. All right, and the face, as you see, I drew a little bit too dark because it's going to be harder to not cover anything up, but that's all right. Here we go. So we've got our outlines, we've got our smudges. Fill in his little paws too. My kitty does not have white paws, little clean, neat white paws. He is just brown with black stripes. Although he does have a little pink nose. I can take the pink that's a little bit strong of a pink, but that's okay. We get the idea. A little pink nose. Now I have some damp paper towels here and I'm just wiping off the pink because for the rest of the colors we're going to blend them, it doesn't really matter, but for that one I didn't really want the pink all over the place. So we'll take some darker colors and we'll do some highlights. Like I said, kind of the stripe on the side of the nose there. There we go. And we'll do maybe the inside of the ear. Just rub that in a little bit. There's a little bit of shadow. You don't get the light all the way inside the ears. I also have, he has a lot of stripes on him, so we're gonna kind of lightly make and blend these stripes here. And he has the letter M on his forehead, as a lot of kitty cats do. And some other little lines there. Yeah. Put some little stripes on the side of his face and kind of rub that color in. We get that nice color variation there. We'll go over this one more time at the end to put in some good final details. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but we want to, you know, give him some stripes, give this some detail. I'm going to also put stripes. His leg, remember, curves like this. So his stripes kind of go in because they go down his leg, and his leg is curled around. His knee is kind of right here. And we'll just rub that in and make some darker and some lighter patches. There we go. He'll have some stripes going down his back. And I'm just doing little squiggly lines, as you can see, and then I'm kind of blending the color together with my finger. All of my art is completely attainable. There is nothing that I'm drawing that you can't do. And we're gonna give him some stripes, his foot right here. Give that some detail. Not some detail, some definition, I guess. And his belly is also not that dark. There we go. Whoops, that's okay. We'll give his little feet a little bit of shadow as well. There we go. And then get some stripes in there. It's not perfect. The tip of his tail is darker, but you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. And you can notice that I am blending this color. It's staying where it is, but it's also kind of mixing with the other color that was underneath and next to it. So it is kind of pulling the color along with where I'm putting it and blending it as well. So you can still see the lines I drew. You can just see that it's a lot more mixed in next to those lines, which is kind of nice. There we go. So what else do we want to do? Well, I want to make his eyes a little bit darker. There we go. And if I don't want to smudge that, but you can see that there's like a little extra dust on there, you can pick up your paper, tap it, blow on it, and the extra will kind of fall away. And then take your wet paper towel and dry off your surface, because otherwise it'll be all over your artwork. And let's see, what else does he need? I'm gonna take one more brown, just one more different brown, and kind of give a few more details. Little toes on his paws, and we don't need to blend these parts in. But we'll give a little shadow here where his face kind of meets the rest of the body. There we go. And blend that in. A little shadow between where his chin is resting on his paws, because we don't want it to look like it's just floating in thin air. And this does make him a bit more orange than he is in real life, but that's okay. I don't think he'd really mind that much. He's a very good sport. Go up and do, yep. And so I am not gonna rub this part in, because you can see it's making these nice little kind of hairy lines. So we know that this is giving it kind of, maybe rub in a little bit, but some movement and some life that it might not otherwise have, because we're just working in these little tiny strokes. There we go. And I'm just using the very edge corner of my chalk here to make these lines. There we go. Kind of go around his nose here too. And then he does have a couple little whisker freckles. He has really long white whiskers. I don't know how I would feel about putting whiskers on this kitty right now. I kind of like him how he is. But we'll do a little furry belly. And there he is. We've got little hair in his ears. Cats do have hair in their ears. There we go. What do you think, my friends? We have made ourselves a pastel kitty. I really hope you had fun today, and I hope you get a chance to try out some chalk pastels and not be intimidated by their fancy name and the fact that you get very dirty fingers. You can follow us here on YouTube for lots of arts and crafts and science tutorials, and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Tewksbury LIB. Have a wonderful day.